Hello. Today we're going to talk about the barometer. It was a very useful invention that is used in everyday life today. It was invented all the way back in 1643 by a man named Evangelistine Torricelli. He was born October 15th, 1608 in Faenza, Italy. He grew up in a poor family, therefore his family sent him to live with his uncle, who was much wealthier and therefore would get much better schooling. When his father died, Torricelli was sent to Rome to study, which he learned a lot of his ideas that he used to invent the barometer. While in Rome, he worked a lot with Galileo and became very close friends with him, and a lot of their work relates because they spent so much time together. Now that brings us to when he invented the barometer. In 1643 is when it was invented. There's no specific date because it was a long process, and the idea is what he came about before the actual product. How? Well, there was a man who was working with pressure and was trying to raise water in a tube 14 meters up with a pump. However, the water would only go 12 meters. It would not reach it to the very top. Therefore, Torricelli thought that if you use something like mercury, which is 14 times denser than water, then it would work much better. To do this, he put mercury in a small cylinder and filled it all the way to the top. One end was open, one end was closed. He also had a tub at the bottom filled completely with mercury. Then he placed the open end of the tube in the bottom where the mercury was, and the mercury dropped 76 centimeters from the top, leaving a space right here without any mercury in it. He was able to conclude from this that there was air pressure pushing down on the mercury. And how he was able to figure this out is because over periods of time, the level of the mercury would fluctuate, it would go up and down. And this, he could tell, was because of the pressure pushing down on the mercury in the container.
Torricelli performed his celebrated experiment on argento vivo, quicksilver, i.e. mercury, in Florence in spring 1644. Torricelli filled a glass tube, open at one end, with mercury. Then, closing off the open end with a finger, he tipped the tube upside down and lowered it into a basin containing more mercury. He observed that the column of mercury descended only partially, stopping at a height of around 76 centimeters. Torricelli was convinced that the space created by the descent of the mercury in the tube was empty, and that the force holding up the column consisted of the pressure exerted by the air on the mercury in the basin. In a letter to Michelangelo Ricci of June the 11th, 1644, Torricelli declared that his experiment proved two fundamental concepts. First, that nature did not abhor the void. Second, that the air had weight. The results of the mercury experiment opened a period of revolutionary change, forcing a re-examination of doctrines accepted for centuries.
This relates to chemistry because pressure is used a lot in chemistry, and this is the main way that it's calculated. The pressure for ATM was used or discovered because of the barometer. The reaction to the science community changed a lot. It made it a lot easier for scientists to read pressure. It also changed the weather industry because you can predict weather with the barometer. And how to change people's lives outside the science community is the weather aspect, because the prediction of weather has become a big part of our society, and the change in pressure is the main reason that we know what the weather is going to be. Therefore, if it's going to be high, or the pressure is high, then it's going to be nice weather, and the barometer allows us to do this. I was interested in choosing this because I am very interested in weather, and I like the prediction of weather, and I like to understand more about it, and so I thought the barometer would be a good place to start. Thank you, that's all.